The Zelthari research station orbited Earth's moon, a gleaming monument to galactic superiority. For 3 cycles, the station had cataloged Earth's life forms, analyzing threat levels with technology that had never failed across 200 conquered worlds. Dr. Vexithera, the station's chief xenobiologist, prided herself on the precision of their scanning arrays. "Another mammalian specimen ready for processing," announced her assistant, adjusting the containment field around a small black and white creature. The scanners hummed, analyzing the animal's mass, density, jaw strength, and claw composition. Threat level, negligible classification, harmless scavenger-recommended action, standard observation. Protocol. Vexthera's mandibles clicked in satisfaction. "Bring it to Lab 7. The human specimens should observe how we handle their primitive fauna." In Lab 7, Cora pressed her face against the reinforced viewing panel, her breath fogging the transparent material. 3 weeks of captivity aboard this alien research station had taught her that the Zelthari considered humans barely more intelligent than livestock. She and Adam, captured during separate abduction events, had been poked, prodded, and studied like insects under glass. "They're bringing something new," Adam muttered, his eyes tracking the hovering containment unit as it entered the main laboratory space. His military training had kept him alert, always watching, always waiting for an opportunity that never came. The creature inside the energy cage appeared unremarkable. About 3 feet long, stocky with a distinctive white stripe running from its head down its back. Cora recognized it immediately. "Oh no," she whispered. "What is it?" Adam asked. "That's a honey badger." "A honey badger, Adam? So? It's just a—" "No." Cora's voice carried a note of grim fascination. "You don't understand. That thing doesn't know fear. It doesn't know pain. It fights lions. It raids beehives and gets stung thousands of times without caring. It's been bitten by cobras, shrugs off the venom, and eats the snake." Adam's expression shifted from confusion to interest. "They scanned it, right? Their threat assessment must have. Their scanners measure physical capability. They don't measure insanity." In the main lab, Vexthara directed her team with confident efficiency. "Reduce containment field to level 2. We'll begin with basic cognitive testing." The honey badger sat motionless as the energy field weakened, its small eyes fixed on the nearest Zelthari scientist. To the aliens, its stillness suggested docility. Cora knew better. That was the stillness of a coiled spring, a robotic arm extended carrying a food reward designed to test problem-solving abilities. The honey badger observed the mechanism with what appeared to be casual interest. Then, without warning, it attacked. The movement was explosive. Claws that the scanners had deemed insufficient for threat classification tore through the robotic arm's outer casing. Teeth that measured below concerning parameters clamped onto circuitry and wiring. Sparks flew. The arm sparked and died. "Impossible!" Vexthera shrieked. "Increase containment field." But the honey badger was already moving. It had learned in 3 seconds what the field's weakness was. The emitters required a 0.02-second recharge cycle between adjustments. In that microscopic window, it launched itself through the gap. What followed was pandemonium. The creature tore through Lab 7 like a natural disaster compressed into 30 pounds of furious muscle. A Zelthari scientist raised a neural disruptor. The honey badger climbed his torso and bit through his breathing apparatus before he could fire. Equipment that had cataloged hundreds of species across the galaxy was shredded, smashed, scattered. "By the void, what is that thing?" A technician wailed, scrambling onto a workstation as the honey badger demolished everything at ground level. Cora watched with a mixture of horror and vindication. "That's Earth, you idiots. You cataloged our bodies, but you never measured our spirit." The honey badger cornered 2 scientists near the cooling systems. It didn't kill, it didn't need to. The sheer relentless aggression sent them fleeing, abandoning their posts, their dignity, and their species' reputation for tactical superiority. Adam noticed something the panicking aliens didn't. "Cora, the containment fields, they're routing all power to the main lab defenses." She understood immediately. "Our cells, the fields holding them prisoner, flickered, weakened." Adam tested his barrier with 1 finger, then his whole hand. "It's down to minimum power." They moved together, years of human problem-solving evolution kicking in. Adam found a broken piece of equipment, wedged it into the field emitter. Cora shorted out the secondary controls with a precisely aimed water container. The field collapsed. They were free. In the main lab, Vexithara had activated the station's emergency protocols. Bulkheads began sealing, dividing the lab into segments. But the honey badger simply tore through the air recycling ducts, emerging in each new section with undiminished fury. "Retreat to the command deck," Vexithara ordered. "Seal this entire section." As the Zalthari evacuated, Cora and Adam reached the lab. The honey badger paused, having successfully conquered its territory, and regarded the two humans with what might have been recognition. Or maybe just determining if they were worth fighting. "Easy, friend," Adam said softly. "We're not your enemy." The honey badger snorted, a sound that carried profound skepticism, then wandered off to investigate whether any of the broken equipment was edible. Cora moved to the main console, her fingers flying over the alien interface. 3 weeks of observation had taught her more than the Zalthari realized. "I can access the communications array. Send a message to Earth's defense network." "Will they even detect it?" Adam asked, standing guard. "The Zalthari have been keeping Earth under quarantine classification. They told the Galactic Council we're too primitive for contact." She smiled grimly. "But they've been studying us because they couldn't figure out how we survived our own planet. Now I know why." The message transmitted, carrying coordinates and technical data about the research station. As they worked, the honey badger continued its exploration, occasionally stopping to destroy something that looked particularly expensive. "You know," Adam said, watching their unlikely liberator, "their scanners weren't entirely wrong." "How so?" "It said no threat, and it was right to us. That thing only becomes a threat when you try to cage it, study it, control it." He looked at Cora meaningfully, kind of like humans. Through the viewport, Earth hung in the distance, blue and green and impossibly dangerous to anyone who didn't understand that its deadliest creatures weren't always the biggest or strongest. Sometimes they were the ones too stubborn to know when they were beaten. The Zalthari had learned this lesson the hard way. Their scanners could measure mass and force, speed and toxicity, but they couldn't measure heart. They couldn't measure spite. They couldn't measure the sheer bloody-minded refusal to accept defeat that characterized so many of Earth's children. As rescue ships launched from Earth's surface, drawn by Cora's signal, the honey badger finally settled down in the ruins of Lab 7, apparently satisfied with its work. It closed its eyes, utterly unconcerned with the chaos it had created. Cora and Adam exchanged a look, then quietly left the creature to its rest. Even on an alien research station, millions of miles from home, some truths remained universal. Never cage Earth's creatures, never underestimate humanity's allies, and never, ever trust a scanner that says no threat when dealing with anything from the third planet from Sol. The honey badger, unaware of its role in Earth's first contact with galactic civilization, simply didn't care. It never did.